Hi, I'm Paris, and it's my 2-year anniversary of being on Lupron. It's been a tough 2 years. Lupron stops your body from producing testosterone, and there are loads of physical side effects, psychological side effects, and I still have 1 more year to go. But one side effect I did not expect was that my family would tell me they actually liked me better like this. So what is like this? How was I before, and what changes have happened that my family seems to like better? Well, what I think it comes down to, and I have to agree with this assessment, I'm actually a nicer person now. Better personality through chemicals. Aside from all the physical things that testosterone does to the body, a lot of good stuff it turns out, and you do miss it when you don't have it. Psychologically, I'd say it takes your foot off the accelerator some. Now it does this with your metabolism and energy levels as well, because they go way down, but you just end up not feeling the need to push things so hard and so fast. Now there's certainly times when you want someone to be focused, concentrating, and pushing as hard as they can. If the boat is sinking, you want somebody there bailing as fast as they possibly humanly can. You don't want someone saying, "Oh, hey, this water isn't so cold, and oh look, there's a fish," which is kind of sort of how I feel like my mind has become after 2 years without testosterone. It's nice for the people who have to deal with you, family, friends, co-workers. If you're not so competitive and you're not so push, 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 go, go, go. I have high expectations of myself, therefore I'm entitled to have high expectations of all of you. But when you need to actually accomplish something, you want that type A driven person around. So there's something to be said in the overall scheme of life for nice, and there's something to be said for competitiveness and productiveness. And I guess if you're a person who's really in touch with their feelings and very noticeable about all the people you interact with and how they perceive you and how they respond to you, then I suppose you're able to turn that type A personality on when you need it and turn it off when it's not quite appropriate. But I was never very good at that. If I was type A, I was type A all the time. So when I get my testosterone back in a year's time, I will remember the lessons I have learned here about when it's appropriate to be type A and driven and productive, and when you just have to be more patient, slow down, more understanding, more forgiving, and have a better balance of those things in my life. But if anything, maybe lean a little bit more towards the understanding, patient person. I have to admit that when I used to watch TV shows or movies, I always identified with the type A person, but now I see that what's all that rushing around all about? Now I've sort of lost touch with empathizing with that character, even though it's still in me somewhere, and you add the right chemical cocktail and it will come back out. But now I don't understand. What are people in such a rush for? Why do they act that way? So as I mentioned, I feel it's still inside me, but it does make me think about our personality and chemicals that can change that up. Now, testosterone is a natural hormone. People, when they get older, when men get older, the testosterone levels tend to drop naturally with age. And there is the stereotype that when men get older, they mellow out. And I've certainly seen that. I don't know that any studies have been done on that. That would be a good study. But I think it's sort of a folk wisdom that as the testosterone levels drop, your father, who was so tough with you, ends up being so much nicer with your kids. Conversely, when women get older and go through menopause, the estrogen levels drop. And both men and women produce both estrogen and testosterone. It's a matter of the balance of the two. So in men, as they age, the estrogen stays here, the testosterone comes down. As women age, the testosterone stays here and the estrogen comes down. But on balance, it means that testosterone is having more effect. And there is also the folk wisdom, but not ever tested that I know of, that when women get to be older, they can become meaner. So you have a couple that's in they're 25 years old, and the husband is the go-getter, sometimes insulting, too pushy, high-stress type A, and the woman is a much more understanding, patient person, especially with the kids. But then as you get older, Suddenly grandpa's the nice one and grandma can get kind of mean. That's a generalization, of course. Individual people can be any kind of different ways, and I think there's a lot for people who are more empathetic. They can put themselves in other people's situation and understand from their perspective more. I think those people, even if the influence of testosterone or estrogen or whatever it is changes, I think they're better suited to not just following whatever mood the hormones put them into. They make the effort to still be balanced about those kinds of things. Whereas people who only really see things from their own perspective, which I think may have described me more in my younger years and my type A personality, they have a harder time with that. And if the hormones have you up and raging, then you rage. And if the hormones are dropped down and you're just cool with everything, you're just so cool with everything. But now that I've had a couple years to look at things from the other side, to see the other perspective, I'm not going to lose that. When my testosterone goes back up, I know it's going to incline me to just going back to how I was. Wisdom is about having experiences and learning from them, remembering those lessons, remembering those other perspectives, and being able to apply that to your life in the future, applying it to the self you want to be in the future, and to be a better person for it. So in a year and a half or so from now, check back with me. Once I have that testosterone coursing through my veins, I'll try to remember and do a follow-up video. Maybe once I have testosterone again, my memory will start working. But I definitely want to be someone that my family will say, you know, when you were on Lupron and your personality became a lot nicer, well, since the testosterone's come back, we were concerned that you would go back to being how the person you were, but you haven't. We really appreciate you making the effort to not going back to being how that person was, to being aware of our perspective, and to pulling out your experiences that remind you how important it is to be patient and kind and gentle, and to not be that type A personality all the time. I'm going to make sure that's the review they give to me of my personality, both on and off of Lupron, with and without testosterone. But I've got another year without it, so I'll see you on the next testosterone-free review.
There are so many choices and you don't want to stress. You want your health food at home, receiving only the best. That's what we're here for, we give honest reviews. parristx.